All right, welcome back. Today, we're jumping right into Chapter 2 of Forged from Within. And this one is called The First Hammer. It's all about that first, most crucial, and, let's be honest, often the most painful tool you need to make any real change: awareness.
Yeah, the chapter really doesn't pull any punches, does it? It kicks off with this quote, and it just sets the tone immediately. The whole idea here is that real transformation doesn't start with feeling good. It starts with a moment of brutal, painful honesty. I mean, it's that feeling, right? When you look in the mirror and you just don't recognize, or maybe you just don't like, the person looking back at you.
And that's what this first hammer is all about. It's not some passive idea. The book frames awareness as this active, heavy tool you actually have to choose to pick up and swing. It's the act of seeing yourself raw and unedited, without all the usual filters and excuses we put up to feel okay about where we are. So why is this step so hard? Why do so many of us avoid picking up that hammer in the first place? Well, it's because facing the truth of who we've become, and maybe even more terrifying, who we're on track to become if nothing changes, is just flat out scary. This is the feeling that's described in the chapter. It's that life on autopilot. You just wake up one day and you realize you can see the next 20, 30, 40 years playing out on the same exact track. And it's not just about being bored. It's that chilling realization that you might just get used to it, that the fire you used to have is slowly, quietly burning out. The book brings in this really powerful idea of drifting from Napoleon Hill. Think about it. Drifting is the comfortable, easy alternative to facing the pain of awareness. It's so much easier to just accept your circumstances, to tell yourself, hey, it is what it is, than it is to stand up and actually fight for something more. And this slide just lays out the two paths so clearly. You've got the drifter on one side, choosing comfort and really self-deception. Then you have the builder on the other side, who chooses to face the fire. They embrace the pain of honesty because they get that pain is the raw material for progress. According to the book, you're either drifting or you're building. There's really no in between. So it all boils down to this. This is the core takeaway of this whole first part. You simply cannot fix what you refuse to face. Honesty has to be the foundation. Without it, anything else you try to build is just going to crumble eventually. And this leads us to the next section, because it turns out it's not just our circumstances we have to face. We also have to face the fictions we've created, the masks we wear, and the limiting stories we tell ourselves day in and day out. And we all do this, right? The mask starts out as a survival tool, a way to look calm when you're actually terrified, or to seem confident when you feel small. But over time, that mask can start to suffocate the real you. It quiets that inner voice that tells you that you were made for more. It's not just one mask, is it? We've got a mask for work, a different one for family, another for our friends. And the scariest one of all? The one we wear even when we're completely alone, because we've started to believe our own performance. Which of these have you been wearing? And beyond the masks on the outside, there's the story we tell ourselves on the inside. That internal narrative that just plays on a loop. Stories like, I'm just not that kind of person. Or the big one, it's too late for me. This isn't just a random thought. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You believe it, so you make it true. So what do? Well, the book argues you have to actively fight these stories. You have to mentally cross them out and replace them with something better, even if you don't fully believe it at first. It's about taking the pen back and starting to write a new chapter for yourself. And this is where this quote from James Clear just hits so hard. Rewriting your story isn't just a mental trick. Every single choice, every action you take, is a vote you cast for the person you want to become. It's those votes, one after another, that actually make the new story real. Okay, so you've picked up the hammer, you've looked in the mirror, you've faced some painful truths, you've started to see the masks and challenge the old stories. That whole process, that was the mirror. Now for our final section, it's time to pick up the map. This is such a simple but powerful metaphor for turning awareness into action. The mirror, it gives you your starting coordinates, your exact location, right now, no matter how uncomfortable it is to look at. And you can't chart a course forward on a map if you don't know exactly where you are to begin with. So here it is, the simple, actionable framework from the chapter. Step 1, the mirror. Brutal honesty about your current reality. Then step 2, the map. And notice it doesn't say make a 10-year plan. It says decide on one small next step. That's it.
Just one thing you can do to start moving in the right direction.
And this is a really critical warning. If you only look in the mirror, if all you ever do is become aware of your flaws without taking any action, that awareness just becomes a form of self-torture. It's just despair. Clarity is only useful if it's paired with movement. So we're going to end with this challenge, a direct question from the materials straight to you. The first hammer of awareness has fallen. You've seen where you are. So the only question that really matters now is this. What is your next step on the map? What is the one small thing you're going to do to start walking that path?